You knew she only wanted the best for you. A year after I moved in to Mrs. C's house in the room on the 3rd floor, after a year of doing nothing, I had dropped out of college. I had no direction. I really didn't know who I was, except that I loved Bonnie. She said to me one day, "I don't see what Bonnie sees in you." But I trust her opinion without hesitation. And from that moment on, she had my back. She was 100% loyal. Unwavering support for me. For the last few years, I was blessed with the opportunity to pay back all that support. And it was a great honor to do it. Ted has thanked me over and over again for what I did, and I'll say for the last time, you're welcome, but there's no need. For I can think of nothing that I would have been happier doing. It gave me purpose during a time when my purpose has been called into question. Helping her as I did gave me a reason for my condition. So even though I was helping her, she again gave me the support that I needed. She never ceased in her quiet support and strength. That what she did, there was never the question of, is she on my side? Through so many trials and tribulations, she had an incredible attitude. They were not good or bad, they just were, these things that happened to her. She dealt with it and moved on, always looking forward to what could be. When she met with her physical therapist after she had broken her leg above her ankle, both bones, compound fracture, horrible, he asked her what her goal was in rehab. She said she wanted to be able to walk with a cane again. I saw his shoulders slump, and he said, "You may have set your goal too high. It's not going to happen." 6 months later, she was walking with a cane. One time after she got out of the hospital and was home for a while, she went back to see her doctor, and her doctor said, "When I saw you in the hospital, I did not think I was going to see you again. Matter of fact, I knew I was not going to see you again." But there she was. And through everything, she just dealt with it. She didn't say, "Poor me, poor this, poor that." She just dealt with it and she moved on. She said to me once that I had to push her because she had no talent for pushing hard, for working hard at something. The reason she gave for this was that she said she was never on a team in a sport and therefore didn't learn how to train, how to push her body. She had more tenacity than anybody I've ever known. She didn't realize it, but she did, because she was single-minded. She simply kept moving forward, and she moved forward fearlessly. I've never met a person that had no fear. During the last few years, as I would chauffeur her around, we would talk in the car, driving the bridge or the doctors or elsewhere, and we would talk. She would tell me stories, and whenever I got home, I would try to write down what she told me because I can't remember things. She had so much to say. And whatever I was talking about, she would have a story of her own. And they always seemed to be relevant later as I thought about it to me, what was happening with me. But she would never say, "Therefore you should do this or think that." She accepted me for who I was, flaws, good things, and that's what she did with everybody. She accepted you, the whole package. Not, "I love my son Ted, but..." She accepted our foibles gladly. I would say enjoyed them. Mrs. C could understand pain and my limitations. We could talk about our issues without undue emotion, without panicking or crying, "It's not fair." She, my mother-in-law, could hold my pain and did so without hesitation. When my blood relatives could not emotionally accept that anything was even wrong with me, she understood and accepted me with all my many flaws. And she told me many times, Bonnie and Ted, how proud she was of you, both. Unflinchingly proud of you. At home, we developed a kind of shorthand. It grew organically. One of those was when, in the morning, as I was making her breakfast, she would have things for me to do. Something that she dropped off her bed, couldn't bend over to pick up. The answering machine beeping, and she couldn't make it stop. And I would do this as I was making her breakfast, her egg in the morning. And then as she was eating it, I would do the other things. And then I would continue, I'd come and sit down and we would talk. And when she was done with all the things that she needed me to do, she would say, "I'm okay." And that was the shorthand that I was done for the moment, that I could go home and make coffee or do whatever. All through the night on Tuesday, I tended to her, adjusted her position, gave her a few drops of morphine to settle her breathing. I held her hand, I gave her a sip of water. She loved lemon drop candies, so I put one of them in her mouth, and she would suck on it a little bit, and then spit it out into my hand. All night she would wake up and say a few things, and I would say a few things to her, and she was comfortable. Then, right about dawn, my alarm went off to say I needed to give her some more medication. So I went in, and the first thing I noticed that she was on her left side. She never slept on her left side, ever. And I went and I took her hand and I squeezed it a little bit, not really wanting to wake her up. She opened her eyes. She looked at me, she gave me a wry smile, and she said, "I'm okay." And closed her eyes. I knew that she knew that I needed to hear that. And she needed me to do no more. And that she was thanking me for everything I had done. So Mrs. C, I'm okay too.